I'm Peter Mahegan. I'm a member of the Scituate West Cork Sister City Committee. On behalf of our group and our special guests from West Cork, Ireland, I'd like to welcome you all to this special ceremony memorializing the 99 Irish men, women, and children who perished in the wreck of the brig St. John, just a short distance from where we stand today. That sad date was October 7th, 1849. To begin, let me call on Father John Mulvihill of St. Anthony's Church, Cohasset, for the invocation.
Lord, you have made your people a pilgrim church to be welcomed by you into its eternal home. Bless us as we stand before the cross of our salvation, a memorial to your pilgrim people who left hearth and home for their beloved Ireland to journey to a new world, and who now rest here in the peace of the Lord, in the sure hope of the resurrection. May this Celtic cross standing in silent memory over the graves of those who rest here never cease to remind us of the life that we are to share in Christ, who has transformed these earthly bodies to be like his in glory, for he is Lord forever and ever. Amen.
We are most grateful to the town officials from Cohasset and Scituate who've helped us with this event. Our Cohasset friends are the best of neighbors, and thank you to them for all you've done. Here is James Boudreau, Scituate Town Administrator, to say a few words.
Since we're running late, I'll be very brief, especially because I didn't get lunch, so I'm a little bit hungry. I want to go get something to eat, so I'll try to be very brief. On behalf of the Scituate Board of Selectmen, Scituate West Cork Sister Committee, the town of Scituate, welcome. We are very pleased and honored to have you here today. It's fitting that we're here today at this memorial to the Irish immigrants who were killed. Again, as Peter said, not too far from here in 1849 as they were coming to America to make a new life. It reminds us of the bonds and the deep ties that America and Ireland have, and how far back that goes, and how our friendship means so much to each other as we sit here today and meet with you to try to deepen those ties and strengthen those ties, and hopefully I can get to West Cork at some point. So again, on behalf of the town of Scituate, the Scituate Board of Selectmen, welcome. We're looking forward to a very productive couple days, a very fun couple days, and I'm hoping at some point I do get fed. So thank you, and we look forward to meeting with you.
If you've read the inscription here on the stone, that tragedy is awfully painful to contemplate when you think about the events of that day. We have many eyewitness accounts, including one by the great American naturalist Henry David Thoreau, who was on a walk to Cape Cod when he stumbled upon that tragedy. For more on this tragic event, here's a member of our committee and the Ancient Order of Hibernians, John Sullivan.
First, before I talk about the brig St. John, I also wanted to acknowledge Father John Mulvihill from St. Anthony's in Cohasset. For the past 25 years, he's been supportive of the annual honoring that we do of this event, and we're having another Mass October 7th, to which everyone is invited to join in commemorating this tragedy. But it's also an honor that you who are over here from West Cork see how we remember the people who sacrificed everything to establish a new life, or try to establish a new life in America. The Ancient Order of Hibernians is involved in Irish cultural events, and we try to also remind people as to the sacrifices that our forebears went through to come to America, to leave all they knew and make a new life here. And it's important to remember the ties, as Jim said, between our two countries. They are strong, and they will get nothing but stronger. And so we're honored that you're with us today to honor these people and to recognize the sacrifices they, and many like them, underwent to come to America. Thank you.
And now a word from John Travers of the Ancient Order of Hibernians. John?
I'd like to thank my good friend John Sullivan for giving me 10 minutes notice that I was going to speak today. I will pay you back. On a serious note, it's great to see everyone here. It's great to meet all these fine folks from Ireland, and I thoroughly enjoyed the lunch today. It was very good. You missed a good lunch. Okay. But seriously, the Hibernians, we have, as John mentioned, for many years have tried to make the tragedy of the brig St. John more well known. And for a number of years now, we have had a mass at St. Anthony's. And ironically, this year it's October 7th, the same day in 1849 of the tragedy. So the mass is at 1 o'clock at St. Anthony's. All are welcome. Right after the mass, we have a little reception in the hall, and then we come back up here and have another memorial at the monument here. But also the division from Plymouth, along with the state Ancient Order of Hibernians and the national, we're trying to raise some funds to have a permanent marker outside the cemetery to honor the victims of the brig St. John. So that's basically all I have to say. I thank you all for being here. It's great to meet all new friends, and got to meet Peter Mahegan for the first time.
Like they say, that and 50 cents will get you on the bus. Who knows if the pipes were heard on that sad day when the victims of the St. John wreck were laid to rest here. But they will be today, courtesy of Luke McFadden, Chief of the Holbrook, Massachusetts Fire Department. If there is anything faintly positive that we can take from this place, it may be that those who died here were never forgotten. Here to read a litany of the names of those resting here, and I'll introduce them all at once. Siobhan Hunter of the Scituate West Cork Committee, Cohasset Town Manager Chris Sr., Karen Canfield of the Scituate Board of Selectmen, and from the Cork County Council, Councillor Mary Haggerty and Councillor Paul Hayes. Siobhan?
Of the crew lost, there were 7, starting with William Angiers, Michael Connors, Edward Kennelly, Antonio McDonough, William Thompson, 2 unnamed apprentice boys. Starting with the lost 109 passengers, we have Peggy Adams, John Belton, Miss Brooks, Catherine Burns, Thomas and Bridget Burke, John Butler, Daniel Burns, Mary Cahill in Ireland, Bridget Connolly, Pat Corcoran, Patrick Corman, Mary Curtin, Mary Curtis, Bridget Doherty, John and Mary Dolan, Thomas and Honora Donnelly, Michael, Bridget, and Honor Egan.
Nancy, Bridget, Martha, and Thomas Fahey. Catherine Fitzgerald. Catherine Fitzpatrick. Mary Flanagan. Mary Freeman. Mary Fowler. Mary and Winnie Galvin. Hugh Glynn. James and Peter Greeley. Michael Griffin. Michael, Margaret, and Nancy Hannigan. Ellen Hassett. Catherine Henneth, and sister.
Mary Joyce and child. Margaret Kane and child. Margaret Keenan. B. Kennelly and 3 children. John, Honora, and Patrick Mayhem. Mary Lansky. Joyce and Mary McDermott. James and Patrick McGrath. Bridget, Catherine, and Patrick McMahon. Mary McNamara. Hugh Madigan. Bridget Madigan.
Peggy Malloy, James Moran, Honora Margaret and Mary Mulkeenan, Honora and Peggy Mullen, Bridget Mulligan, Jeremiah Murphy, Mary Nolan, Patrick Noonan, Eliza O'Brien, Martha and Peggy Perky, Bridget Quinn, Thomas Riley, Martin Sexton, Anne and Bridget Slattery, Honora Burke and their 3 children, Honora Cullen's 3 children.
The Sweeney family from Lettercallow, Connemara, County Galway. Agnes Sweeney, Bridget Sweeney, Catherine Sweeney, John Sweeney, Joseph Sweeney, Mary Sweeney, Miles Sweeney, Miles Sweeney II, Patrick Sweeney, Patrick Sweeney Jr., Sally Sweeney, Sarah Sweeney, and Thomas Sweeney.
Assisting us today in laying flowers at this solemn site are first Aoife Budd, Vice Consul of Ireland, and the Mayor of the County of Cork, Patrick Gerard Murphy. Flowers in the colours of Ireland.
Thank you very much, Peter, and thank you all for coming, and welcome to all the people who came from West Cork. I hope you'll find that the vultures here in the South Shore warm, as warm as you would stand was over there. I'm delighted this ceremony is happening today because it gives a prominence to the very important work that the AOH has done since the early part of the 20th century in breaking the silence over the whole experience of the famine and its consequences. Indeed, the Massachusetts AOH and the people in Cohasset were pioneers in getting involved in famine commemoration back in 1914. Up to that time, memories of the famine tended to be private. held internally because of the pain and grief that they caused. But around that time, the AOH and local people here in Cohasset, a descendant actually of one of the survivors of Mary Kane, Joseph St. John, got involved with others to raise money and build this beautiful, beautiful cross that was carved by an Irish native from Quincy, P.J. Tagney, and you can make out his initials and name on the cross. The event itself, which happened on May 30th, 1914, was very interesting. It was Memorial Day, and picking that day, I think, was symbolic of the extent to which Irish Americans, many of them descended from the famine, had become Americans and become fully integrated in this society without losing their bonds back in Ireland. It was an incredible event. Over 12,000 people came to see this cross dedicated. There was something like 4 bands, and the parade session that started down at the old railroad station was about 2 miles long. Very many dignitaries were there, including Governor David I. Walsh, who was the first Catholic governor of the Commonwealth. James Michael Curley, our legendary mayor of Boston, was here. John F. Kennedy's grandfather, Honey Fitz. You name it, anybody who was important back in 1914 came to that celebration. Again in 1949, on the centenary of the tragedy, the Archdiocese took the role in having a commemoration which brought about 7,000 people. And in the 1990s, with the public silence about famine being broken in Ireland as well, there was a new energy put into the activities here to remember all those who died on the brig St. John. But equally important was an acknowledgement of the wonderful help and assistance that the residents of Cohasset gave to the survivors. Nobody who landed on the beaches alive died. Everybody survived, including a 6-month-old baby girl who was found washed up in a kind of blanket on the beach at Sandy Cove. So to the people of Cohasset who came forward and helped in 1914, we owe our thanks, as we owe our thanks to them for donating the land here upon which this beautiful, iconic Celtic cross rests. So I'm hoping that today's ceremony will be another boost in spreading awareness and knowledge of that terrible tragedy and raising consciousness that these kinds of events are not totally gone. We still look around the world and see similar tragedies, and I hope that raises our consciousness to do what we can in our own individual ways to lend assistance. Thank you, Peter.
Thanks so much, Mashana. That concludes our ceremony today. I would like to call on Councillor Joseph Carroll of the Cork County Council to offer a closing prayer in the language that most of these immigrants spoke.
Koenig Igoni, always remember. Labba emas Nanev Gorevako, may they rest in the company of saints. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, and good day.